Folks, welcome to Movie News Monday, where every single Monday live on Twitch, we cover the world of entertainment. We're talking movies, television, MCU, DCUs, all the U's, you get it. So first, hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, leave a comment. What do you want me to talk about? I'll do it. I'll do it if you leave a comment. If it's a good comment. Don't leave a bad comment. Anyways, what am I doing? Folks, we have some news to get into, starting with today. Not what I expected to be the breaking news of the day before stream. Disney is developing a live-action Gaston movie with writer Dave Callum and producer Michelle Rejwan. Now, if y'all remember, we had a brief moment, if you can just like close your eyes and remember. The Snow White movie had come out. Everybody was turning on Gal Gadot's acting. We, the real fans, were supporting Rachel Zegler because we knew what we still know to be the truth, that she's the GOAT. And word was circling around saying, hey, maybe Disney's actually going to slow down on development on some of these live-action remakes. And we heard the Tangled remake might be put on pause. We heard that the Hercules remake is sort of in a development lull. We were thinking, wow, everything's going to be okay. But then, Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch just had to go and make $1 billion. Lilo and Stitch, the live-action Lilo and Stitch movie, which was originally supposed to be a Disney Plus exclusive, shattered the box office. It did better. It did better than all of Marvel's movies. It did better than all of the Marvel movies that came out this year. It absolutely slayed. Immediately had a sequel greenlit. And suddenly, Tangled's back in production. Scarlett Johansson in talks to star. Maybe Hercules is back in production. And now this, a Gaston movie, because you thought we had enough anti-heroes, just you wait. Now, if you've been plugged in for a long time, like I have, there was actually talks of a Gaston spin-off from the initial live-action Beauty and the Beast movie. So Luke Evans portrayed Gaston in the 2017 film starring Emma Watson. And there was talks about a Disney Plus series, because if you remember, Disney Plus was very freshly launching in 2019. So after the movie came out, there was talks about possibly doing a TV series with Luke Evans and Josh Gad, who played LeFou, doing some sort of a spin-off television show with them. But ultimately that has been scrapped, and they are now instead going in a completely new direction, new actor, with a swashbuckling tone to it, whatever it may be. Some insiders are saying that the studio is high on the idea. They are very motivated by it. The film is being written by Dave Callum, and is being produced by Michelle Rejwan. Kate Herron worked on a previous draft of the film. If that name sounds familiar, Kate Herron was the showrunner and writer of season 1 of Loki, which actually was very good. If you haven't seen it, Loki, on top of just, MCU and being of the good old days of MCU on streaming, is actually like a fantastic sci-fi story and multiverse story. So highly recommend. But Dave Callum has worked with Disney a handful of times. He worked on some of the Star Wars series. He's worked on Shang-Chi. So there's a good relationship there with the studio. I'm just not sure that who's asking for a Gaston movie? The whole point about Gaston is that he was low-key a sex pest, and he was really being uncomfortable towards Belle and negging her, and he had gone through the whole town and she was the only one who denied him consent, and so he fell in love with that idea. and he was super judgmental and tried to kill the beast with no understanding, and he was also super mean. So like, why, why does Gaston need the Maleficent treatment? You know what I mean? Like, to me, it just doesn't make sense. I'm sure there's a story there, but also, like, why can't we just make it, if you want to make a swashbuckler movie set in, like, old-timey France, just make a swashbuckler movie in old-timey France. Like, don't make it a Gaston movie. So, I don't know. And we know where, if it's gonna be Gaston, we know where his story ends, right? He dies a gruesome death, the only death that a Disney villain could have. They fall into the darkness and are presumed dead. So I just don't know. Is it a prequel? Is it a sequel? Is he back? Look, if Disney couldn't explain to us how Ben Solo was back, I don't care how they're going to try and explain to us that Gaston survived. So for me, I'm really not on board. I'm really not on board with this. But I'm curious to know if you would give this a look. Is there a Disney villain that you would be curious to see a movie on? We've had Maleficent, we've had Cruella. Cruella's a banger, sleeper hit, by the way, if you missed out on that one because it was a COVID release. Actually, a solid movie. I would say, give me a Captain Hook movie. Wait, they did that, didn't they? They literally did that. Peter Pan and Wendy, wasn't that also a Captain Hook movie? I don't know. Maybe just don't. Maybe just make a new movie. I don't know. A Hades movie. Now we're talking. Hades movie, yes. Backstory for the crew of Atlantis. Are they technically the villains? Yes. Yes, they are the colonizers. Here's the thing. I'm such a hypocrite because if Disney today announced that they were doing a live action Atlantis, I would take it all back. And I'd be like, yes, please. Yes, Mr. Iger. I am on AMC A-list signing up immediately. Well, folks, if you were getting too high on Disney based on this story and you feel we needed to make them the bad guys for a minute, let's get into it. Folks, a few weeks back, I said I didn't want to talk about people buying Warner Brothers or about artificial intelligence unless there was actual news to talk about. And then what happens? Netflix and Paramount get into a bidding war, and now Walt Disney is investing $1 billion into OpenAI, making the first major deal between old Hollywood and the age of AI. Folks, this is just confusing, frankly. This is just confusing because on one hand, I understand that studios are going to have to get on board, right? They're going to have to get on board or get left behind with AI because it's happening. It's here. As much as maybe, I don't know, like 80% of the people that I speak to, and I understand that everyone lives in their own universe. 80% of the people I speak to are not pro AI and in fact would be like actively against AI. It is here and it is here to stay. And I understand that there's some good use case for it in certain areas. I actually saw a fascinating video just today from Corridor Crew, the Corridor Digital Crew, using an AI software that helped them basically animate toys using AI, right? Like I saw this video from the Corridor Crew where this is animated using motion tracking from a video like of an actor on a green screen assigning, and automatically rigging to a picture of a toy. And there's some motion, and like, yeah, it's a little uncanny in some areas, and it's not perfect, but like, this is a pretty big deal. This guy in particular looks super goofy. But there's something here. Regardless of whether or not you say this is AI slop or whatever, there is some usability in the world of AI that I think is just naturally going to blend into the world of traditional film and television. So all of this to say, I understand why a major studio would want to basically get on board with OpenAI, who is the biggest company when it comes to AI and now generative AI. But Disney, I feel like they jumped the gun because they were supposed to be one of the major studios that was leading the charge of laying a fair ground for fair use and copyright protection within AI. If you remember, we've talked about it several times before. Disney and Universal Studios teamed up to file a lawsuit against Midjourney, which was one of the earlier AI image generation models. And just days before the announcement was made that Disney was investing in OpenAI, they were threatening a lawsuit with Google regarding their, VO3 Gemini image model, and claiming that they were infringing on their copyright. And in fact, Google obliged and removed a bunch of Disney characters from their AI image generator model after that cease and desist, which they issued days before making this announcement. So Disney was supposed to be leading the charge in laying the fair ground for protecting filmmakers, protecting stories, protecting characters. And so for them to just slap $1 billion check in Sam Altman's pocket, it just feels wrong. And it's the fact that now the Sora platform will allow characters from Marvel, Pixar, and Star Wars, and basically any faceless characters from Disney's archives to be used in AI videos. Like, how long did it take? It was hours. It was hours when Epic Games and Fortnite had the AI voice clone of Darth Vader before they had it. Like, just gamers, not even like bad actors, just silly gamers were able to get the Darth Vader AI to say some pretty nasty slurs and some nasty ideas. And, what's going to happen? It's just really sad. It's really sad that we're getting to a point where some of the most influential and impactful characters in media, which famously had been owned and championed by a media company, Disney, that really seemed to stand on the idea that protecting stories and protecting their characters and protecting the impact that these stories and characters have on people, they really acted like that was important to them. And now with this, I just don't know. So people will be able to use Disney characters in Sora AI. AI generated videos will debut on Disney Plus. They're going to have some sort of a shorts feature on there. Nobody likes this. Nobody's happy about this. And, at one point I think I even tweeted out, I was like, I think Walt Disney would be disappointed about this. And then I've been watching a lot of Defunct Land recently, which if you haven't seen Defunct Land, let me put you on to the best YouTube channel of all time. But Defunct Land put out this 4-hour video talking about the some of the stuff that Disney had been working on. This is Defunct Land. Go check him out. All of his videos are incredible. But I accidentally started rewatching this video today, I thought I was watching this one. I was instead watching the other one. And it just reminded me that Disney himself actually, Walt actually would have been pro AI. Let's be honest. Walt famously hated his animators and had a lot of disdain for the people that created his work. He was always looking for shortcuts. He talked about animatronics as a way to get around having to work with finicky actors. He probably would have been on board. He was also, he called himself a futurist. He believed that he was always on the constant edge of innovation and creation. So Walt Disney actually probably would have been on board with this, which is a shame. Disney loses out on protecting copyright. Steamboat Willie gets out into the public domain and they go, fine, you don't care about protecting our characters? Neither do we. So I don't know, chat, what do you guys think? What do y'all think about Disney throwing in the towel on being a champion of establishing, fairgrounds? I don't know. You think I nailed it? I appreciate that. It's just, look, there's a version of this situation where Disney holds off and they win their lawsuits and there's grounds to stand on for copyright protection and legislation is created and people are protected, and then they go, and now we will invest. And now we will get behind one of these companies because we don't want to get left behind. So, I don't know. I don't think they're championing as much as they're covering Mickey Mouse's ass. Yeah, I guess. I see what you mean, right? Like, if they say no, OpenAI and Sora are the only company that have a right to our characters, like that gives them, $1 billion stake fairly, does give them some ownership and does give them the ability to be like, we have strict guidelines on how to protect our assets and how to protect our intellectual property, but like they don't know how it works. They don't know how to stop it. They don't know how to protect it. Every single time an update comes out regarding a terrible thing that ChatGPT or Sora does, it's always reactive. And if you can get one bad actor creating something bad, it's a domino effect. You can't put that toothpaste back in the tube. Except in this case, the toothpaste could be a really disturbing video about, I don't know, Iron Man doing something heinously inappropriate with Darth Vader, and Pluto the dog is there too. I don't know. How much did their stock jump? Sorry, Chad. I was almost really mean at you, but you're not the people I'm mad at. I don't know, but I know it helped, and that makes me really sad. As disappointed as I am in this, hey, we're still getting some wins out there. New York State enacts a landmark AI law that requires disclosure of synthetic performers in ad and consent for posthumous use of name, image, and likeness. Exactly like I was just talking about with what an ideal version of events would be with the Disney AI situation. We do have some states and some legislators that are making an active decision to get ahead of the technology and protect artists and protect not even just artists, but protect people, protect consumers. Look, how many of us were home for the holidays recently? Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all the winter holidays are coming up. How many of you are going to go home? I want you to think to yourself as you're interacting with your dads, your granddads, your uncles, any older person in your life. I specifically call out dads because this happened to me. How many times are they going to show you a video and you're going to immediately go, hey, that's AI? And 9 times out of 10, it will be something harmless. 9 times out of 10, it will be something harmless. However, it is really important to build a baseline of understanding, and laws like this and situations like this are helpful, because if people know what to look for and know what to recognize, and they see a commercial or they see a piece of media and it's labeled as, AI generated performer, they go, oh, so that's what it looks like. Oh, okay. And they start building an understanding. So, hey, here's hoping we have more like this. This article does go on to talk about how there was some legislation that was passed in California by Governor Gavin Newsom, which, frankly, I wish Gavin Newsom would do a little bit more in terms of protection against AI, but I understand he's the governor of California, and a lot of these AI companies are based in Silicon Valley in California, so stock prices, funding for politicians. This is why I don't like talking about AI, chat. This is why I don't like talking about AI. I get all grumpy because you know what it all comes down to? It all comes down to money. It's just money, and that's all what it is. And everybody cares about AI right now because it's moving so fast. But it's moving too fast, and we're not taking care of it. We're not taking care of ourselves, and everyone's just pouring money into it. And the stock prices are going up, and it's really expensive. And people are like, oh my God, I have so much money, but none of it's liquid, because everyone's like, this AI bubble is so good. It's never going to pop. It's not a bubble. It's just the future. Diamond hands, hold. And you know what's going to happen? At a point where it's all just going to go away. Folks, Magic Treehouse animated series is in the works, and I'm just shocked. I can't believe it's literally taken this long. Magic Treehouse was like Scholastic Book Fair. Magic Treehouse was always up there. I remember going to the library in elementary school and everyone being like, Magic Treehouse, baby. Magic Treehouse, A to Z mysteries, and I Spy. This is crazy to me. I can't believe we don't have a series for Magic Treehouse already, but we are so back, 100%. So it's taken a long time to get this off the ground because the original author of the series was waiting to get a deal in which they could retain some creative control, which absolutely you should. And so Mary Pope Osborne put out a statement. For many years, I've been looking for the right opportunity to adapt my books into a series for the screen in a way that would allow me a real seat at the table. Which I think is important. And we are seeing, we have the British magical world authors out there who have shown that having a serious stake in the creative adaptation and having a seat at the table can really benefit the franchise. And I think that studios are getting more aware of that. And I'm even thinking about, Percy Jackson has Rick Riordan writing on the show and being heavily involved. And so it makes sense that, hey, if you have the creator and they're invested as well, like, by all means, have them involved too. Even all the way to like DC Studios is doing a Miracle Man series and they're having Tom King involved, right? Like, why not? Like, why not have the original authors involved? And so in this case, we are finally, thanks to the forward-thinking team of Spury and Rideback, I'm able to have that and bring my hand-picked creative team along with me to realize my long-held dream of bringing Magic Treehouse books to the screen in a way that feels true to their spirit. So, an animated series is in the works. This is super exciting. This is super cute. I hope that this brings a whole bunch of people into the world of Magic Treehouse, and why not? Why not create more? If we're gonna only do stuff on IP anyways, let's pick out some more fun IP that we haven't seen before, and let's give some more power to the original creators. That, to me, is what I am most excited about. It's the fact that somebody who worked really hard and stuck and stood their ground and said, no, I'm not just selling. I want to do this the right way and I want to be involved. And that's what's happening here. So keep an eye out in the next couple years for Magic Treehouse, the series. What book series do you want to see developed into some sort of a show? I think A to Z mysteries would be fun. My favorite series growing up was Tales of the Dimwood Forest. That series, A to Z Mysteries. Give me Emily Winsnap. Emily Winsnap? I don't know Emily Winsnap. Hold on, let's learn. Oh my god, is she a mermaid? Chat, you have to remember, I did grow up as a little boy who was a gamer, so I'm not familiar with Emily Winsnap. Even though she lives on a houseboat, Emily Winsnap doesn't know how to swim. Oh, so she didn't know that she was a mermaid, and then she was a mermaid. Okay, okay. You know, we have a couple. Have I have a story for you? Have you heard of H2O? Just add water. I was saying the Tales of the Dimwood Forest is my pick, which is the Poppy series. So there's a Poppy, Ragweed, Poppy and Rye, Aerith's Birthday, all of these. Such a sweet story about a little forest and a little mouse who goes on a bunch of big adventures, and it's really beautiful. Poppy and Rye is so sad. Poppy and Rye is such a sad book. Red Wall. I'm not familiar with Red Wall. The Red Wall novel series? Oh, it is also about a little rodent. Over 20 million copies sold. Fantasy novel. Okay, okay. Love. Angelina Ballerina. Hold on. Looking this one up. I'm so curious. Again, this is not... Wait, okay, y'all. Sharks. Sharks. Mickey Mouse is done. Disney is canceled. May I introduce to you the future of rodent entertainment? Angelina Ballerina. I am seeking $200 million for a 2-picture deal. We will have Jennifer Lawrence voicing Angelina with Sabrina Carpenter writing the music. Thank you, Sharks. Mr. Wonderful, I know you're a little rat yourself. God damn it, chat, you're cooking tonight. So guys, you know how Tom Cruise likes to do like the most insane shit? I was gonna say for his movies, but I figured that sentence could actually end there. For years, Tom Cruise had been saying that he wanted to make a movie in space. Like, actually in space. Following his crazy one-upping stunt extravaganzas from the Mission Impossible series and all the crazy flying around that they were doing for Top Gun, Tom Cruise apparently has an idea for a film that would actually shoot in space, which would have been done with the help of, you know, that one billionaire's company, Blue Horizon. However, sources are saying that Tom Cruise has kind of given up on his dream of making this happen because he realizes that he would have to collaborate with the Trump administration. So, an insider familiar with the film says, from what I understand, they would need NASA to coordinate the movie, and supposedly Tom Cruise did not want to ask Donald Trump for a favor. You need permission from the federal government. So, hey, say what you will about Tom Cruise, but, you know, all credit to the man for saying, I do not want this man as an executive producer on my movie, which you know would have been the caveat there. The worst person you know just made a good point. Yes, Donald Trump is not on the coconut cake list. Although, did y'all see that apparently the coconut cake list has expanded to also include gingerbread houses? Because Jake Johnson just revealed, yes, Jake Johnson from New Girl, revealed that in 2017 he got on the Tom Cruise coconut Christmas cake list, and he told Tom Cruise, hey, this is really sweet, but I got a dairy thing. And so instead, he now gets a gingerbread house from Tom Cruise that has his family's name on him. Has his kid's name on him. This is a gorgeous gingerbread house. It is ornate for sure. I would not, in good faith, take a bite out of this. It is too beautiful. So yeah, it's a shame because, 4 years from now, will Tom Cruise be in shape enough to still be able to do a movie in space? Will cinema still exist? I have no idea. But honestly, I know that, Scientology aside, I am a fan of Tom Cruise and his movies. I like the Top Gun movie, okay? I like Top Gun Maverick a lot, okay? I saw it in a theater at like 4 p.m. on a Wednesday with 4 other middle-aged men, and all of us were like fist bump in the air. And I love the Mission Impossible movies. I rewatched all of them, and I did a very long video that not enough of you watched. To be fair, some of you were here for stream. But I did a video where I recapped the entirety of the Mission Impossible franchise in preparation for the last movie. And I'm in it, okay? I have drinking the Tom Cruise Kool-Aid. And I would love to see what the hell this man comes up with doing a movie in space. Here's that video, by the way. A complete history of the Mission Impossible franchise. It is 1 hour and 17 minutes long. Aw, look, it was an old stream setup. Would you want to watch a Tom Cruise movie in space? Because I feel that would be awesome. Right? Rian Johnson talked about The Last Jedi. If you didn't catch Wake Up Dead Man and Knives Out mystery, it is out on Netflix now, so you can check it out if you are able to see it in theaters. And I know it is very limiting. It is very limiting and very hard because Netflix is doing it, which doesn't bode well for Warner Brothers. But in either case, if you can go see this movie in theaters, go see it. It's a fun movie. It's a great time. Go check it out. But if you didn't catch that movie, Rian Johnson threw a cheeky Star Wars joke in that movie, which felt very validating as a Last Jedi defender. I was very happy with the joke that he threw in there about people who misunderstand and misrepresent Star Wars. But he did speak about Star Wars a little bit, which it's really sad. I don't believe that this story made the cut on one of the last recent Movie News Mondays we did. It is basically confirmed that Rian Johnson's Star Wars trilogy has essentially disappeared. He's got other things that he's working on. Star Wars is moving in a million different directions. Really disappointing because I do love his voice as a filmmaker, and I do think that he definitely has more to do and more to say in the world of Star Wars. But that being said, I am just glad we got Last Jedi, and I stand by that movie. And if you don't, keep it to yourself. But talking about The Last Jedi, Rian Johnson did say, having grown up a Star Wars fan, I know that things where sometimes I know that the thing where something challenges it, and I know the recoil against that. I know how there can be infighting in the world of Star Wars, but I also know that the worst sin is to handle it with kid gloves. The worst sin is to be afraid of doing anything that shakes it up, because every Star Wars movie, going back to Empire and onward, shook the box and rattled fans and got them angry and got them fighting and got them talking about it, and then, for a lot of them, got them loving it and coming around on it eventually. So I think that's a very mature and real look at Star Wars. And honestly, it's true. If you go back to every single incarnation of Star Wars, they did something that I'm sure upset a large portion of the fan base. What do you mean Darth Vader is Luke's father and he's not just some random scary villain? What do you mean Leia's his twin sister and not just, a princess and something like this? What do you mean there's midichlorians? What do you mean Anakin's a little bitch boy? What do you mean that the Clone Wars were manufactured from a trade war that was actually self-imposed by the fascist government that implemented its own struggles and created its own trade war to really squeeze the people and squeeze the budgets and make people feel the impact of what it means to be isolated from the rest of the world's economy so that they could use that as a lens to villainize the others and create more of an opportunity to recognize that you need to lean on your own government to the point that fascism was sort of blended with patriotism, and maybe you could trust your emperor, whoa, sorry, I just blacked out for a minute. Last Jedi, good. I like Last Jedi. Oh no, we lost him again. I'm here. I'm back. Alright, I do say that we talk about TV on this show, but I don't talk about TV enough. So let's jump over to the TV side of things. It looks like, on Deadlines, The Dish, it's looking like Helena Bonham Carter is being eyed as the next lead for HBO's The White Lotus Season 4, as well as a potential location in Paris. HBO has no comment. This is all speculative insider information right now, so it may not be official. It may not be Paris. It may not be Helena Bonham Carter, but this seems to be where things are headed, and I think this is great. I think she's a great fit for White Lotus. She definitely has the chops to play a really dramatic gravitas holding character, but also she's got incredible comedic timing and an incredible comedic voice. And Paris sounds like a lovely location for White Lotus because it's all about luxury in that series. Icelandic resort would be fun. That would be fun, but you have to remember, part of the appeal of the White Lotus is the fact that the cast and crew get to live in these extravagant places. So they got to live in Hawaii, they got to live in Italy, they got to live in Thailand. They're probably excited to go back to Paris. I remember it would have been Sydney Sweeney because she was campaigning pretty extensively for White Lotus, but I remember they talked a lot about in interviews how it was like the ideal COVID lockdown for so many of them because they got to be COVID locked down in Hawaii for the first season of White Lotus. It really worked out for them. So this would be fun. I mean, I know that people are kind of getting cold on the White Lotus a little bit, given the last season, but I'm still a big fan of the show. I started off soft. I started off like softly. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like I wasn't super into season 3 when I first started it, but by the time I got to the end, I was so into it. So I'm excited to see some more. Also, Mike White, the creator of White Lotus, is returning to Survivor 50. He is coming back now as a celebrity guest, although he was on Survivor before he was the White Lotus Mike White. So, hey, you can be successful in multiple arms. You can be a Survivor All-Star, and you can be one of the most successful award-winning showrunners. Last couple stories here. Paranormal Activity relaunch lands rising horror filmmaker Ian Tucson. Folks, Paranormal Activity is coming back, a franchise that probably single-handedly revolutionized the horror industry, specifically as it came to independent horror, low-budget horror, and mass-produced, really badly done parodies. All of that being said, the first Paranormal Activity is an absolute classic. It definitely changed the game as far as what could be done and expected from a horror movie like this. Basically, it was the Blair Witch of my generation. That being said, the franchise did kind of get a little bit too far ahead of itself and tried to one-up the world building and the lore and everything like that, and it just kind of lost the plot a little bit. I do remember it was a Paranormal Activity 3 that had that had the Xbox Kinect as part of it. Oh yeah, that was creepy. That was super creepy. Ooh, I'm looking at it now and it's giving me the heebie-jeebies. There was one of the Paranormal Activities incorporated the Xbox Kinect because under like nightlight, this is what it looks like, and that's so creepy. But in either case, Paranormal Activity right now, if you didn't know, also has a really successful stage adaptation going on, which is apparently really good and really scary, which people are really enjoying, and I'm seeing a lot about it. But I was trying to find a picture. They have this like awesome like multi-level set where you can see like multiple things happening in different rooms throughout everything that's going on. I would love to see this show, but I don't know where it is. But in either case, filmmaker Ian Tucson is going to be hemming the next movie, and it's going back to Blumhouse. So this is really cool. This is really cool. We are in, I wouldn't even say we're in the horror renaissance at this point. I think it's fair to just say that horror is part of the mainstay as far as successful blockbuster movies. So I'm into it. Paranormal Activity, let's bring it back. Absolutely. Yes, the stage show, I hope it tours at some point. I think it's only in New York right now. I don't think it's officially on Broadway. I think it's technically off Broadway, but super, super fun. And then our last story of the day, folks, if I could ask you to watch an international movie for me, if you please. No Other Choice by Park Chan-wook. It is a film out of South Korea, and it is, I think, a very serious contender for Best Picture this year. The film is being distributed by Neon, and Neon just did the best thing they could have. So this movie covers the really intense challenges of being someone in the working class who gets left behind by the evolution of their industry, driven by people who are just looking for profits, and what ways that will push a man when they are trying to protect their family. So Neon, to promote the film, is inviting all Fortune 500 CEOs. So to read the statement, to all Fortune 500 CEOs, on behalf of director Park Chan-wook's new film, No Other Choice, Neon would like to invite you to attend a special screening just for you, our gracious executive leaders. No Other Choice spotlights many parts of your humble mission to achieve corporate greatness, from the unbearable weight you carry upholding your employees' livelihoods, to the systems you strive to conquer for economic growth, to the conditions and resources you govern in times of strategic mergers and realignment. This is truly a film that speaks to you and the culture you have cultivated. Your special screening will take place on December 17th at 5 p.m. in New York City. No need to pay. This one's on us. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is incredible. This is so good. Yeah, Neon does not miss. I would be really shocked if anyone showed up for this. And I hope to God, if any of them actually show up to this, I hope they didn't do their homework. I hope they didn't do their homework and they show up thinking, haha, isn't this fun? Is this like the Begonia one where they shave people's heads? What's this movie about? And then they see the movie and golly, do I hope they learn something. So folks, No Other Choice. Unfortunately, you will have to pay to watch it unless you are a Fortune 500 CEO. But please check this movie out. It is really incredible, and it is definitely one to keep an eye out. Well, folks, that is going to wrap it up for the news section of our broadcast. Thank you so much for watching Movie News Monday. If you are catching this video on YouTube, hey, Did you know we do these live every Monday? That's why it's called Movie News Monday. So head on over to Twitch and give us a follow there so you know when we're live. We don't just do the news, we also have fun. Today, we are doing a Christmas movie naughty or nice game, which chat we are going to be starting in just a minute here. But for everyone watching on YouTube, if you want to see more of these type of videos breaking down the current news in the entertainment industry or just having some fun with some deep dives or some games, make sure you hit a follow and subscribe and all that fun stuff. Check us out on all the other socials so you know we're going live. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you at the movies. Bye. Goodbye. Goodbye, YouTube. Goodbye, chat. Say goodbye, YouTube.